I don't have any chondros to show you, so let's go direct for the book. So basically, if you want a chondro, you don't really know where to start, and you want a book, I have one for you. Let's go. The More Complete Chondro. Basically, that book is the same type of series. It's the same in the same series basically as the Complete Carpet Python, the More Complete Carpet Python, between brackets more complete ball python, the complete children pythons, the complete more complete ball constrictor, etc. You know, it's in that same type of series of book. Really cool book. You know, if you want an idea of how to keep, you know, chondros, the history of chondros and all that, is very cool to read. You know, I read it also beginning from the end. You know, basically it was really enjoyable to read. You know, I think because of what chondros are, it might have the nicest picture ever in any book I have, just because chondros are so impressive, designer-wise, or just pure ones, basically, you know. So yeah, you might get the idea, right? You know, so you have a lot of cool pictures, you know, like basically, and that is also cool pictures, and that one is also a cool picture, you know. So you get the pretty much the idea, right? So if you know, this book was written by Greg Maxwell. I had a couple words. I talked a little bit with him about the book, you know, because I found it really interesting, and you know, he answered me basically, so that was cool. Not that the other ones didn't answer me, but I just didn't contact them basically. So, you know, but here I felt like I wanted to contact him basically, you know, and I showed that I had the book basically. So yeah, this is really like, you know, the more as every edition, the more is that there is more to it basically, you know. So that's pretty much the stuff. You know, if you want an idea on where chondros come from, how they're there in the wild, as in a book basically, the history of them, designers, locality stuff, all of that, you know, in this book. This is pretty much what I have to say about it. This is a really nice book. I read it. I love it. Basically, I love this series, you know, the type of series, you know, the complete and then the species name, or the complex species name, basically. I really love this book, these books. Basically, my temptation, my way of saying chondro all the time when I talk about green tree pythons comes from there, not only, but also from there. So you want me say a lot Morelia viridis or Morelia azurea basically, even though it should be used like that, but old words can't be, you know, overthrown. But basically, if you have a more scientific, you know, reading of stuff, you should use Morelia azurea and Morelia viridis, depending on the species and subspecies, then, you know, and stuff like that, basically. But if you want to keep your chondro and have an idea how to keep this, here it is. When it comes to breeding, I mean, you'll have, I mean, like carpet pythons, and I will say carpets and chondros, you have a lot of people having a lot of information, having a lot of knowledge, and having different styles of breeding these guys, or just like keeping these guys. But basically, you know, when it comes to breeding, you have one way of doing it, then you make a lot of another type of research, then you have another way of doing it. But basically, that's, you know, a good start, I would say. You know, because as you may have thought, I have chondros in my mind, so basically that's why I have that book. Even though I was not thinking about getting chondros before that book, but you get the idea. But the stuff is that, you know, you have everything you need to know about chondros for keeping, at least. You know, here is a keeper channel basically, so all about keeping these guys, you know, what you will need. You have a lot of ideas, you know, that you can keep for keeping these. You have from the small cage, you know, from basically, that was in the history, you know, of captive breeding. So you have from the small cage to the magnificent, if I can find the pictures again, you know, to finding like those magnificent type of enclosure, you know, but you'll get, you know, better pictures of those, you know, and stuff like that, you know, basically. So that's pretty much the stuff, you know. I read a lot of stuff like that, and it debunked a lot of myths that I had with chondros. I didn't have a lot of myth left after listening to a couple podcasts about chondros, but basically, when it comes to green tree pythons, it debunked all those left myths that I had, basically, and it's also written in a way, all these books are really well written, like the Python Regis that we talked a couple weeks ago, same for the carpet pythons, but I feel like for people that are not really scientific, not scientific at all, basically, it might be the easiest book I've ever read on a species. It's really easy, and it makes you feel like keeping chondros, and maybe not for everyone, as it is said, but basically, it's not impossible. It makes you look at chondros in a way that, it's possible to keep them, and it's not that difficult. It is not that difficult, basically, because all it needs, blah blah blah, and and it's not as difficult as you might have heard a lot, and as I've heard a lot, basically. So that's maybe why I think that this book I really love this book. Again, I'm from Europe, and this book is really easy to get, super cool. The More Complete was also very easy. All my books basically I have are kind of easy to get, or maybe not. When we go over a series of books, once I've read them all, basically you will see that it's not always easy for me to have these books. But basically, yeah, that book is really easy to get. This is very, very cool to get, and Greg is a really nice person. Personally, he was with me, a really nice person, and we talk a little, like when I got the book, we talked a little bit, but since then I didn't contact him anymore. But basically, this is much the stuff, that, I contacted him to talk a little bit about it, because I found it really interesting. And that's pretty much it, I think, that I have to say about this book. So I hope you enjoy. Oh yeah, basically, my pillars. So, who wrote it? Greg Maxwell. I mean, if you're a little bit into chondros, you know the guy, right? He's pretty knowledgeable, pretty good. Information in there, top notch. I mean, from the days when it was written, it is top notch. Now maybe there are some stuff that nowadays we don't do anymore, or that we change our mind on, maybe, but basically, if you want to keep, you have the information you need. If you just want cool pictures, you have really cool pictures, because I mean, green tree pythons are just impressive to look at, even the just plain, I don't even know if there is a plain green, normal ass green in there, yeah, here. So basically, just a normal ass green tree python it's just as impressive as it is in a cage, So having like those designer hypomelanistic and all these stuff, and the history of all the history about the designer lines and the locality and all that, and a couple of warnings about where they come from when you import them and stuff, about the importing of stuff, etc. That's pretty much it. So I think we're gonna end that video on it. So I hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and share. Don't forget to support USR. Don't forget to support RK. Don't forget to jump in the page group. Don't forget Instagram for me, AodaReptile, and I hope to see you on the next one. Let's go!